At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Ray Breslin, a quiet and highly observant prisoner being held inside one of Colorado's toughest correctional facilities. Armed officers patrol every corridor, surveillance cameras cover nearly every angle, and electronically controlled doors separate the inmates from the outside world. To the guards, Ray is simply another dangerous criminal who has been locked away. But they have no idea that every movement he makes is part of a carefully calculated plan. Ray is not studying the prison because he is afraid of it. He is studying it because he intends to escape. For several days, he watches the guards closely. He memorizes when they change shifts, how long they remain at each checkpoint, and which security procedures they perform without paying attention. He studies the cameras, the locks, the ventilation shafts, and even the behavior of the other prisoners. While everyone believes Ray is trapped, he is quietly discovering how the entire facility works. And this is not the first time he has done something like this. Ray Breslin is one of the greatest prison security experts in the world. He specializes in entering maximum security prisons under false identities and then attempting to break out. If he succeeds, he identifies the weaknesses that allowed him to escape so the prison can correct them. Over the years, Ray has escaped from 14 different facilities. This prison is supposed to become number 15. One afternoon, Ray notices that the guards responsible for his section leave their positions at almost the same time every day. Their absence lasts only a few minutes, but Ray understands that a few minutes can be more valuable than several hours when nobody is watching. Unfortunately, escaping his cell is still a major problem. The door is controlled by an electronic keypad, and the guards are extremely careful whenever they enter the code. Ray cannot see the numbers directly, so he creates another way of discovering them. When his meal arrives, Ray removes a thin, transparent layer from the packaging. The next time a guard opens his cell, he secretly places the material over the keypad. After the officer enters the code and walks away, Ray retrieves it. The guard's fingerprints have left marks on several numbers. Ray still does not know the correct order, but by studying the officer's hand movements and testing different possibilities in his mind, he eventually works it out. Next, Ray prepares a distraction. Through a coded message, he informs his team outside the prison exactly when the escape will happen. He also jams part of his cell's food hatch so that the locking system will not operate correctly. Finally, the chosen day arrives. The guards leave their posts, believing they have enough time for their usual break. Ray immediately enters the stolen code. The lock releases. He slips into the corridor, enters the ventilation network, and moves through the prison without making a sound. Outside the facility, his team detonates a vehicle, creating an explosion powerful enough to send officers rushing towards the emergency. While everyone is distracted, Ray enters a security room and interferes with the camera system. Instead of showing his empty cell, the monitor now displays previously recorded footage of him sitting quietly inside. To anyone watching, Ray has never moved. Emergency workers soon enter the prison to respond to the explosion. Ray steals a firefighter's uniform, covers his face, and joins the group as they begin leaving the building. Surrounded by officers, guards, and rescue workers, he walks directly through the main gate. Nobody stops him. Nobody recognizes him. And just like that, Ray escapes from another supposedly secure prison. However, his freedom does not last long. After reaching a remote road, he is spotted by police officers who quickly realize that his clothing belongs to the prison. They surround him and prepare to make an arrest. Before they can take him away, a man named Lester Clark arrives carrying official documents. Clark proves that Ray is not a real inmate and orders the officers to release him. Ray is then taken straight back to the prison he escaped from. The warden is furious and confused when Ray calmly walks into his office. That is when Clark explains the truth. Ray works for Breslin Clark, an independent security company hired to test correctional facilities. Ray's successful escape has exposed several serious problems: predictable guard routines, vulnerable electronic locks, poor emergency procedures, and a security system that can be manipulated. The embarrassed warden has no choice but to listen as Ray explains exactly how his prison failed. The mission is complete, but Ray's next assignment will be unlike anything he has faced before. When Ray returns to his company, he meets a woman named Jessica Mayer. She claims to represent people connected to the CIA and tells him about a secret detention facility used to hold individuals considered too dangerous or politically sensitive for ordinary prisons. The facility is privately operated, hidden from the public, and believed to be completely escape-proof. Jessica offers Ray an enormous amount of money to enter the prison and test its security, but there is a dangerous condition. Unlike his previous assignments, Ray will not know the prison's location. His team will not be able to follow him, and the people running the facility will not be informed of his real identity. To protect him, Jessica provides an emergency evacuation code. If the mission becomes too dangerous, Ray is supposed to give the code to the prison administrator. Once the code is confirmed, he should be released immediately. Ray's colleague Abigail is suspicious. She argues that entering an unknown prison without direct communication is reckless. Ray's usual missions depend on preparation, surveillance, and an emergency team that knows where he is being held. This time, they will have none of those advantages. Clark also appears concerned, but Jessica challenges Ray's reputation. She suggests that perhaps he has grown too comfortable and is afraid to test himself against a truly unbeatable prison. Ray understands that she is deliberately provoking him, but the challenge still works. He accepts the assignment. Before the mission begins, Ray is given a new identity. Inside the prison, he will be known as Anthony Portos, a criminal connected to an international cyber network. Jessica repeats the evacuation code and promises that it will guarantee his release. Ray's team secretly places a tracking device beneath his skin. Jessica never approved it, but Abigail refuses to allow Ray to disappear without any way of finding him. With the tracker active, the mission begins. Ray walks through a crowded street until a dark vehicle suddenly stops beside him. Masked men rush out, force him inside, and immediately search his body. What happens next proves that someone has prepared for him far more carefully than expected. The kidnappers locate the hidden tracker almost instantly. They cut it out and throw it away. Back at the office, Abigail watches Ray's signal disappear from the screen. The team has now lost him completely. Inside the vehicle, Ray is injected with a powerful sedative. His vision fades, the voices around him become distant, and eventually everything turns black. When he wakes up, he finds himself inside a transparent glass cell. At first, Ray struggles to understand what he is seeing. The prison does not resemble any correctional facility he has studied before. Its cells are stacked vertically inside an enormous industrial structure. Each one is made of glass, leaving the prisoners exposed from every direction. There are no normal hallways, barred doors, or familiar observation towers. Armed guards move through the facility, wearing identical black uniforms and expressionless masks. Because their faces are hidden, Ray cannot identify individual officers or learn their personal habits. Cameras watch the inmates constantly, and the glass architecture makes privacy almost impossible. Ray has escaped from prisons built with concrete, steel, and advanced electronics, but this place feels as though it was specifically designed to defeat every method he has ever used. Still believing the mission is legitimate, Ray demands to speak with the administrator. He is taken to the office of a cold and extremely intelligent man named Hobbs. Ray initially addresses him using the name of the warden he was told to expect. Hobbs immediately corrects him. The wrong man is in charge. Ray begins to sense that something is terribly wrong, but he remains calm and gives Hobbs the evacuation code. He expects the administrator to contact Jessica, verify the arrangement, and release him. Instead, Hobbs looks at him without recognition. The code means nothing to him. Ray insists that he is part of an authorized security test, but Hobbs refuses to listen. He explains that powerful people are paying a great deal of money to keep Anthony Portos imprisoned. According to Hobbs, Ray will remain inside the facility until the day he dies. In that moment, Ray understands the terrifying reality. This is no longer an assignment. Someone has betrayed him. The following day, Ray is brought into the general population area. News of a new prisoner named Portos has already spread through the facility, and several inmates begin watching him. Among them is an older prisoner named Emil Rottmeyer. The moment Emil hears Ray's false name, his behavior changes. He studies Ray carefully, almost as though the name carries a meaning nobody else understands. Before Ray can learn more, several prisoners surround him. New inmates are often attacked to establish the prison's hierarchy, and Ray becomes their latest target. He fights back with surprising skill, but there are too many of them. Just as he is about to be overwhelmed, Emil intervenes. He warns the attackers to leave Ray alone. The entire room becomes silent. Emil is respected and feared by the prisoners. Even the most violent inmates hesitate to challenge him. After a tense moment, the attackers step away. Emil introduces himself and offers Ray protection. Ray does not trust him yet, but he understands that escaping this prison will require more than intelligence. He needs information, cooperation, and people willing to take risks. Emil may be his first useful ally. Over the next several days, Ray begins studying the facility. He measures time using routines. He observes the guards' movements, examines the construction of the cells, and watches how prisoners are transferred between different levels. However, the prison seems to eliminate every weakness described in Ray's own security manual. The guards do not follow easily recognizable schedules. Their masks make them impossible to distinguish. The glass cells prevent prisoners from hiding objects, and every conversation can be observed. The more Ray learns, the more he begins to suspect that whoever designed this place had access to his work. During his investigation, Ray notices a section used for punishment. Prisoners who disobey orders are placed inside small metal chambers, where extremely bright lamps generate unbearable heat. Ray calls the chambers isolation boxes. He believes they may be connected to maintenance areas hidden beneath the prison floor, but he needs to enter one to confirm his theory. When he tells Emil, his new ally responds in the most direct way possible. He punches Ray in front of the guards. Ray attacks him back, and the two men begin fighting violently. Officers rush into the room, separate them, and drag them towards punishment. Hobbs orders both prisoners into isolation. The plan has worked. Inside the chamber, Ray is exposed to intense light and rapidly increasing heat. Sweat pours from his body, and breathing becomes difficult. Despite the pain, he forces himself to remain focused. He studies the floor and discovers a large metal panel held down by several bolts. The panel appears to cover an opening leading beneath the chamber. This is the first real weakness he has found. The next morning, the prison doctor examines Ray. Ray quietly asks where the facility is located, but the doctor refuses to answer. A guard notices their conversation and questions the doctor. Rather than reporting Ray, the doctor claims that the prisoner was only requesting water. That small lie tells Ray something important. The doctor may not support what Hobbs is doing. After Ray and Emil are released, they discuss the discovery. Ray explains that the isolation chamber has a removable floor panel. If they can loosen the bolts, he may be able to reach the prison's maintenance system. He needs a thin piece of metal strong enough to use as a tool. Emil agrees to find one. Later, Hobbs summons Emil for questioning. The warden wants information about a mysterious financial hacker named Victor Mannheim. Victor reportedly stole enormous sums of money from wealthy organizations and transferred it to people in need. Governments, corporations, and criminal groups are all searching for him. Hobbs believes Emil knows Victor's location. Emil refuses to reveal anything. The guards torture him, but he remains silent. During the interrogation, he secretly takes a small piece of metal and later gives it to Ray. This act convinces Ray that Emil is serious about helping him. As their trust grows, the two men begin sharing parts of their past. Emil explains that his connection to Victor is the reason he was imprisoned. Hobbs believes that breaking Emil will eventually lead him to the missing man and his hidden fortune. Ray then reveals why prisons have become the center of his life. Years earlier, Ray worked as a prosecutor. He helped convict a violent criminal, believing that the man would remain locked away and could no longer hurt anyone. But the criminal escaped. Instead of disappearing, he returned for revenge and murdered Ray's wife and child. Ray survived, but the loss changed him forever. He became obsessed with prison security because he could not accept that a convicted murderer had been allowed to walk out and destroy his family. Every prison Ray tests represents a chance to prevent another innocent person from suffering the same tragedy. Emil finally understands that Ray's work is not simply about money or pride. It is personal. Ray also reveals another disturbing fact. He wrote a detailed book analyzing prison escapes and explaining the mistakes made by correctional facilities. If the designer of this secret prison studied that book, then every technique Ray normally uses may already have been anticipated. Emil responds with information that makes their situation even darker. Most of the prisoners are not convicted criminals. The facility is a private disappearance machine. Wealthy clients pay Hobbs to hold political opponents, business rivals, whistleblowers, and anyone else they want removed from the world. There are no court records, release dates, or legal protections. Outside the prison, many of the inmates may already be considered dead. Ray now understands that waiting for help is not an option. Back at his company, Abigail and another colleague named Hush search desperately for any trace of him. They approach Clark, hoping he can use his contacts to find the missing prison. Clark assures them that he is doing everything possible. But after they leave, his expression changes. Clark contacts Hobbs and reveals that Anthony Portos is actually Ray Breslin, the world-famous prison escape specialist. He warns Hobbs that Ray has escaped from 14 facilities and will continue searching for weaknesses until he finds a way out. The betrayal is finally exposed. Clark helped arrange Ray's disappearance because he wanted control of their company. As long as Ray remained the respected face of the business, Clark would always stand in his shadow. By sending Ray into an illegal prison, Clark expected him to vanish permanently. Now that Hobbs knows Ray's identity, the prison becomes even more dangerous. The guards deprive Ray of sleep by striking the walls of his glass cell throughout the night. He is beaten, interrogated, and watched more closely than before. But before Hobbs discovers everything, Ray and Emil put their next plan into action. They deliberately provoke another fight and are returned to the isolation chambers. Emil begins screaming and striking the walls, drawing the guards' attention towards his camera feed. Inside the neighboring chamber, Ray chews a piece of bread until it becomes a thick paste. He throws it onto the surveillance lens, blocking the camera. Using Emil's stolen piece of metal, Ray removes the bolts from the floor panel and climbs into the darkness beneath the chamber. He crawls through narrow maintenance tunnels and follows pipes leading upwards. Every sound could expose him, but he continues until he reaches an exterior hatch. Ray slowly pushes it open. What he sees destroys almost every hope he had. There is no city outside. There are no roads, fences, or mountains. There is only an endless ocean. The prison has not been built underground or on a remote island. The entire facility is hidden inside a massive cargo ship moving through international waters. Even if Ray escapes from his cell, there is nowhere to run. While returning through the maintenance system, Ray accidentally damages a pipe. Water begins flooding the lower section of the prison, forcing the guards to remove inmates from the isolation chambers. Ray barely reaches his cell in time. He replaces the metal panel, clears the camera lens, and pretends that he has remained inside throughout the emergency. The guards never realize how close he came to discovering the outside world. But Ray is emotionally shattered. He tells Emil that escaping the internal structure will not matter. They are surrounded by open water, and nobody knows the ship's location. For the first time, the legendary escape expert admits that the prison may truly be impossible to defeat. Emil refuses to accept that. He reminds Ray that surrendering means allowing Hobbs and the people who created the prison to continue destroying innocent lives. Even if their chances are small, trying is better than spending the rest of their lives inside glass cages. His words restore Ray's determination. The prison may be at sea, but every ship must follow a route. If they can calculate their location and contact someone outside, escape may still be possible. Ray develops a method of using the stars to identify their approximate position. He obtains a sheet from the medical room and lenses from a pair of glasses, creating a crude tool for recording angles. The problem is getting someone onto the open deck at night. Their opportunity comes through another inmate named Javed. Javed and Emil have publicly argued several times, making it unlikely that Hobbs will suspect them of cooperating. Ray asks Javed to approach the warden and pretend to become an informant. Javed tells Hobbs that prisoners are planning something and offers to provide information in exchange for a small religious privilege. He requests permission to pray beneath the open sky. Hobbs considers the request harmless and agrees. That night, guards escort Javed onto the deck. While appearing to pray, he secretly studies the stars and records their positions using Ray's device. When the information reaches Ray, he calculates that the prison ship is traveling through the Atlantic Ocean near the coast of Morocco. For the first time, they have something more valuable than hope. They have a location. Emil claims to know people in the region who can organize a rescue, but they must send a message outside the ship. Ray turns to the prison doctor. He explains that Hobbs is illegally imprisoning innocent people and that refusing to act makes everyone working there part of the crime. The doctor is terrified. If Hobbs discovers the betrayal, he will be executed or locked away with the prisoners. After struggling with the decision, he finally chooses to help. Using the prison's communication system, the doctor secretly sends a message containing the ship's location and the approximate time of the planned escape. Now Ray must create a route to the deck. He studies the ship's emergency systems and discovers that certain doors will automatically unlock if the engines shut down. Reaching the engine room could therefore open the upper access points. To draw the guards away, Javed gives Hobbs false information. He claims a riot will begin in one section of the prison. Hobbs transfers additional officers to that area and prepares to crush the uprising. But when the chosen moment arrives, the real riot begins somewhere else. Prisoners attack the guards, glass cells open, and chaos spreads through the facility. Ray, Emil, and Javed race towards the upper levels while Hobbs struggles to understand how he was deceived. Once he realizes the truth, he orders a complete lockdown. Steel barriers seal the corridors. Guards surround the escape routes, and the surveillance network tracks the three men through the ship. Ray cuts several camera connections, but the guards continue locating them. Then he notices small sensors built into the walls. The facility is not relying only on cameras. Motion detectors are following their movements. Ray destroys the nearest sensor, temporarily blinding Hobbs' security system. Gunfire erupts through the corridors as the prisoners push forward. Javed is struck by a bullet, but he refuses to stop. Ray tells Emil that someone must shut down the engines while the others continue towards the deck. He chooses to go alone. Emil helps the wounded Javed move through the ship, but Javed soon realizes that his injury is fatal. The guards are approaching, and continuing will only slow Emil down. Javed asks for a weapon. Emil understands what he intends to do and initially refuses, but Javed insists. Their escape depends on someone holding the corridor. Emil gives him the gun and continues towards the upper deck. Alone, bleeding and surrounded, Javed waits for Hobbs' men. When they appear, he opens fire. He fights with everything he has, forcing the guards to take cover and buying his friends the time they need. Eventually, the officers overwhelm him, but Javed dies knowing that his sacrifice has kept the escape alive. Meanwhile, Ray reaches the engine controls and shuts down the ship. The enormous vessel begins losing power. Emergency mechanisms activate, and several sealed doors automatically release. Emil reaches the deck just as a helicopter approaches from the distance. His contacts receive the doctor's message and have come prepared for a rescue. Armed men inside the helicopter fire towards the prison guards, creating enough cover for Emil to reach the aircraft. The pilot urges him to climb aboard. Emil refuses to leave without Ray. Deep inside the ship, Hobbs and his remaining guards corner Ray near the engine system. With every normal exit blocked, Ray climbs into one of the ship's large water tanks. Hobbs discovers where he is hiding and orders the guards to restore power. Water begins rushing into the chamber, and Ray is quickly submerged. Hobbs believes he has finally defeated him. But Ray did not enter the tank by accident. The chamber is connected to the ship's ballast system. Once the pressure reaches a certain level, water is discharged through an outlet beneath the vessel. Ray allows the current to carry him. The pressure becomes almost unbearable. Then the release mechanism opens. Ray is violently launched through the outlet and thrown into the ocean. He reaches the surface, gasping for air as the helicopter circles above him. Emil spots him and lowers a rescue ladder. Ray grabs it and begins climbing, but Hobbs appears on the ship's deck and fires at the escaping helicopter. One of the bullets hits Emil, nearly knocking him from the aircraft. Seeing his friend injured, Ray takes a weapon and aims towards the ship. Instead of shooting directly at Hobbs, he targets several containers filled with flammable material. The bullets rupture the tanks, spilling fuel across the deck. A final shot ignites it. A massive explosion tears through the prison ship, surrounding Hobbs in flames and destroying the section beneath him. The man who believed he had created the world's most secure prison is defeated by the very systems he trusted. Ray and Emil are finally pulled into the helicopter. After surviving torture, betrayal, gunfire, and an underwater escape from a floating prison, they leave the vessel behind. But the final surprise is still waiting for Ray. When the helicopter reaches land, Jessica is there to meet them. Ray demands an explanation. She sent him into the prison, gave him a useless emergency code, and allowed him to believe the mission was a security test. Jessica admits that the assignment was never about evaluating the facility. She hired Ray to rescue someone. That person is Emil. Then she reveals that Emil Rottmeyer is not his real identity. The prisoner standing beside Ray is actually Victor Mannheim, the mysterious man Hobbs had been searching for the entire time. Victor had been hiding directly in front of him. Hobbs spent years questioning Victor about Victor's location without ever realizing that they were the same person. Jessica is Victor's daughter, and the name Anthony Portos was more than Ray's prison identity. It was a secret signal arranged in advance. If someone entered the prison carrying that name, Victor would know the person had been sent as part of a rescue attempt. That is why Victor protected Ray from the moment he arrived. Ray finally understands the entire mission. Jessica could not locate the prison herself, and a normal rescue team could never infiltrate it. She needed someone capable of entering the facility, analyzing its design, and creating an escape from the inside. There was only one man with enough experience to accomplish that: Ray Breslin. Although Jessica deceived him, her plan succeeded. Victor is free, Hobbs is dead, and the world's most secretive prison has been exposed. However, one person responsible for Ray's suffering is still walking freely. Clark believes Ray died inside the prison. Confident that the company now belongs to him, he prepares to disappear with his money. But Ray's team has already uncovered his betrayal. Clark is abducted, locked inside a shipping container, and abandoned in an isolated location. When he wakes up, he finds a message from Ray waiting for him. The man he attempted to erase has escaped once again. Only this time, Clark has become the prisoner. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Now, be honest. After watching Ray escape from a prison made of glass, hidden inside a ship and surrounded by an entire ocean, which part of his plan impressed you the most? Was it discovering the prison's location through the stars, manipulating Hobbs with false information, or launching himself through the ship's water system? Drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know whether you would have escaped or simply accepted your fate inside the glass cell. And listen, if you stayed with me through this entire impossible escape but still have not subscribed, that is almost more shocking than discovering the prison was a ship. Ray risked his life, Javed sacrificed himself, and Victor waited years for freedom. The least you can do is press one free button so their suffering was not narrated for nothing. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for more intense movie explanations. Otherwise, the next time we break out of an impossible prison, we might accidentally leave you behind. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next movie explanation.